The latest lending data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics finds that loans to investors in New South Wales in April represented a 44% increase on the same time last year. That's a major jump in buyer demand, but doesn't surprise the team at Hotspotting, particularly after the analysis we've done on market trends for the winter edition of the Price Predictor Index. Our research shows there is heightened buyer activity in selected locations both in Sydney and in regional New South Wales. The Price Predictor Index finds that some of the nation's regional markets are the leading markets in the nation, including the Wollongong Shoalhaven region in New South Wales. In the winter edition of the PPI, we have nominated the Shoalhaven LGA as the strongest market amongst the nation's municipalities, while the city of Wollongong also makes the national top 10. The Price Predictor Index for several years has charted the trend we call the exodus to affordable lifestyle, and our latest analysis suggests the demographic drift from the biggest capital cities is still a major factor. In some cases, the New South Wales regional markets of note are what we call second wind markets, locations across Australia which were in the peak of their upcycles in 2021, then subsided in 2022 and 2023, but are now showing signs of embarking on the next upcycle, with the improved activity seen late in 2023 and early in 2024. Now, a prime example is Byron Bay, which previously had a boom which in reality overshot true value, with property values doubling in 2 years. The median house price peaked at 3.5 million in the middle of 2022, but dropped markedly since to as low as 2.4 million. Now we see evidence in the sales data of a pickup in activity in Byron Bay and also the first signs of prices recovering. The strong Albury-Wodonga regional city at the New South Wales-Victoria border was a boom market also until about the middle of 2022, and now after a flat period is showing early signs of revival. So that's another one of our second wind markets. The suburb of Albury is one of our national top 50 supercharged suburbs in the winter edition of the Price Predictor Index. Another standout location is Newcastle and nearby areas such as Lake Macquarie and Port Stephens, and mid-coast centres like Forster and Taree are also travelling well. In Sydney, the top end is undoubtedly leading the Sydney market, while the cheaper areas are struggling to maintain their previously high sales levels. Locations where houses sell for multiple millions of dollars are the strongest clusters for buyer activity in a greater Sydney market where sales levels have moderated a little but continue to be solid. Our analysis reveals 3 standout clusters of suburbs where sales activity is most vibrant, all of them at the upper end of the Sydney market. The municipalities of Woollahra, Waverley, Bayside, and within these local government areas, suburbs classified as rising markets include Bondi, Darling Point and Paddington. Inner city areas which have been boosted by strong demand for apartments in the past year or so in Sydney City and the inner west local government area, they continue to generate good buyer demand as well. Rising suburbs in the city of Sydney include Surrey Hills and Woolloomooloo, while Chippendale stands out for its consistency of performance. Now, at the opposite end of the market spectrum, outer ring areas, including the municipalities of Blacktown, Hillshire and Penrith, have lost momentum and have significant numbers of suburbs classified in our report as declining markets. Now, this is part of a notable trend nationwide, which finds that new development areas are amongst the struggling markets with sales activity falling. Now, the problems within the housing construction sector are well documented, with building companies going broke amid rapidly rising costs and shortages of tradespeople and materials. We note that sales levels in the city of Blacktown, which has been a star performer in Sydney in recent years, have faded notably recently. It's noteworthy that many of the declining suburbs in that area have median house prices well above 1 million and no longer provide relative affordability, and they include suburbs like Rouse Hill, the Ponds and Schofields. In the Hillshire, which is an even more expensive market in the far northwest of Greater Sydney, sales activity generally has dropped notably, and half of its suburbs are now rated as declining markets, and they include a number of suburbs which all have median house prices above 1.7 million and in some cases above 2 million. Listing of homes for sale have been trending upwards in the Hills District recently, so low sales volumes cannot be attributed to a shortage of properties for sale. But beyond that hiccup in the outer Sydney market, New South Wales broadly presents as a place that is attracting strong buyer demand, both in Sydney and in regional markets, with an uplift in investor activity a key factor.